this attack looked more direct, more free-flowing, more fluid, and more creative than I've seen it in quite a while. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of No Other Pod. I'm Jimmy, along with my good buddy Daniel Kooser. And Dan, I have to say, it's WrestleMania week.
Dude, I almost forgot. I was like, what do you have to say right now? Like, we didn't win a game. What are you possibly excited about? Yes, it's WrestleMania week. That's a big deal. It's like the Super Bowl for dorks. So
it is. It's
pretty pumped about it. If we live closer, dude, I would absolutely have you over because we got pretty great setup and everything. You'd have a blast.
It's pretty funny. Some of the storylines they got going. I'm going to be at a friend's house for night one on Saturday, and then
you're not going to go to Casey Current Saturday?
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be at the Current game Saturday night.
Bro, hold on. Was that a choice though? Because I considered making that choice as well. Is that horrible?
No, it's not horrible. I got invited over to a buddy's house for WrestleMania, and each of the last couple of years, I've gone over to his house for night one, and we kind of make it a thing, and it's fun. And so it happened again this year, and I was like, yeah, I'll be there. And then I'm like, oh shit, there's a Current game that night. And I was like, well, I already told him I'd go, and it's once a year, so like I'm gonna be watching the Current game, sort of like I'll have it going at the same time. But I was like, I got
sporting game too. Sporting game at 9:30.
Sporting's away, yeah, San Jose. So
obviously when WrestleMania wraps up, it'll probably be second half of Sporting. You know that.
Yeah. But when you have the chance to watch the storied luchador that is El Grande Americano,
Stop. That sounds like a fucking coffee order. Man, how do we get back into this? Did I get you into wrestling? How did this happen?
That's a great question. I don't know.
It was around COVID time, and I was talking about it, and you were like, I got nothing else to watch.
That's probably how it really happened. I'm not going to say you didn't have anything to do with it, because I knew you were a fan, and you talked about it some, and I was like, okay, yeah, I used to watch it as a kid. Like, I remember, I could reminisce about, the Attitude Era or whatever, and then COVID happens, and I'm by myself for, all hours of the day, and there's nothing going on, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I think this was a story a lot of people had. It was like April, and I was like,
there were no sports.
I guess I'll watch WrestleMania. Yeah, and I think that was the first year they decided to split it into 2 nights, because they were like, we got no other content, so let's just drag this out. Probably. And because it was indoors, it was weird, so they're like, let's just do it over a couple nights. And so I was like, sure, I'll watch WrestleMania, why not? And then I just kind of kept watching it. And then I fell off for a couple of years. Like I'd come back in for the Rumble, and I'd kind of watch through Mania, and then I'd be like, I'll fall off, maybe catch SummerSlam, and that was about it. But
now you're consistent, bro.
It's been about a year and a half now. I watched Royal Rumble 2024, and I've been pretty consistent since then.
I've been consistent for 8 years, because I know about 2018 I got back into it, so 7 years. Yeah, it's been pretty wild.
I mean, it's a time commitment. If you're going to watch, I mean, you even more so. I know you watch it on the faster speed than I do, which I can't do, but you also watch more content than I do.
I do. I watch it the next day, on my illegal websites.
Because you're watching NXT. I think at one point you told me you were even watching New Japan and some other stuff.
That was a lot. New Japan had to go.
Yeah. So I'll do Raw and I'll do SmackDown and then the PLEs, and that's about it. But
bro, I'm committed to my season ticket memberships and everything, but like I have thrown the idea around of staying home this Saturday. I know that's sacrilege if you're a soccer person,
I'll ask you this: Are you excited for the overall card this year? Because I think in my storied WWE fandom over the last however many years, the thing that feels a little different this year compared to like the last 2 years, it was like, oh, Cody and Roman, like that's what we're building to. And then Cody and Roman round 2, that's what we're building to. And then they had the Rock thing that happened. Like it felt like this was like 2 freight trains like charging at each other. This year, it doesn't feel quite that way, but I'm still excited, I think.
I mean, sure. Yeah, it's going to be wild. It's going to be a production regardless. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's going to be entertaining. And you turn up, you got high definition fireworks, bro. Every freaking entrance has fireworks. That's a hell of a time.
That's the thing I think I get most, or one of the things I get most excited for with WrestleMania is like it is a production on another level. And if they're gonna do something crazy, it's not gonna get crazier than what they do on the night of WrestleMania.
We need to look at setting aside some money and attending a WrestleMania in person sometime. Like just to say you have, It's not a Super Bowl, for God's sakes. Super Bowl may never happen in my lifetime.
Right.
Whatever. I've accepted that. But a WrestleMania, we'll get Nick. We'll get Nick's dad. Let's get after it, bro. That could be a hell of a time.
It's certainly expensive, but it is
it's more manageable than something else.
It's more manageable than a Super Bowl, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and you get in early, man. You might have shit seats, but you were there live for all the freaking stuff, dude.
Yeah, it's not impossible. I'll say that. So we'll see. I don't know.
Could be fun. Vegas would have been dope, dude. I mean, Vegas is cheap to get there. It's just expensive to be there.
Well, yeah, and they knew it was in Vegas, so that I think it was even more expensive this year than it is in was in Tampa. Like it's going to be cheaper in Tampa than it was in Vegas. So
sure, yeah.
I don't know. Was it Philly last year? And I don't. They've announced where it is. Oh, it's New Orleans next year.
Yeah, New Orleans next year.
That'd be wild.
Never been to New Orleans.
I haven't either. So I don't know.
It'll be fun.
But yeah, it'll be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. There's some fun matches that I'm looking forward to. So
it'd be nice to watch live, so I don't got to tell you not to text me because I don't like doing that because I can't escape. I'll see something somewhere. You ever lose your mind? You're avoiding spoilers for something, and you go get on Twitter or Facebook or something, and you're like halfway through your scrolling, you're like, what am I doing? Yeah. What am I doing? I'm trying to avoid stuff. I got to get out of here.
Well, there's also something that is uniquely wrestling, I think, uniquely professional wrestling, where like there's the pop of music when there's a surprise, somebody shows up and you're not expecting it, and the fireworks go off and everybody's cheering. Like it's hard. I haven't found something that recreates like that brief adrenaline rush in that way, where you're like, holy shit, they're here. Like it's pretty unique to wrestling in my experience. So it's a good time. But
agreed.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, sporting though, not as much looking forward to their form at this moment because as excited as we were after the St. Louis game, I think we knew it wasn't all rainbows and kittens after that point. So we'll obviously talk about Portland.
What it proved is that we're not a good team, but St. Louis is worse than us.
That is true. I think that's probably true. One thing that did happen last week before we talk about the game that I do want to just call out because it's expected. It's not overly surprising, but it's worth mentioning. They did announce who the 2025 Sporting Legends inductee is this year. Matt Besler. He's going to be inducted into the Sporting Legends. I don't think we talked about this last week because they didn't announce it until Tuesday afternoon. But, I mean, not surprising. The guy deserves it. I mean, it's only a matter of time before his buddy Graham Zusi's joining him up there, maybe even next year. But it's kind of cool. It's also kind of crazy to think about how many years did we spend watching Matt Besler, and now he's not only retired, but he's retired and far enough removed where he's going up on the Legends wall. That makes me feel a little old.
It's pretty wild. Gosh, I was just a young drunken lad when I painted the wall with Matt Besler.
Mm-hmm.
You never know it. I'm pretty sure I was erased from all media in that situation.
Well, it doesn't help that you're holding. I know what they're trying to do, but you had that weird like Snapchat mirror thing that doesn't make sense anymore. Looking at it,
but I also think they don't want dude, that you keep showing those clips. This has to be what it is. Fans will be like, who the fuck is that guy? And it's like, why
crop it in, yeah,
for sure. And I get that. Whatever. I'll always have that. You'll have a memory. It's part of me.
It is pretty wild because considering there's only a handful of years that they've been able to paint a trophy up on the wall. I mean, they got the one Supporter Shield, 2 MLS Cups, and 4 U.S. Open Cups now. So it's 7 trophies, I think. I might be missing 1 or 2, but that's not a lot. And so you're one of the people, if not maybe the only fan, who's actually been able to go up there and assist with painting the wall.
Well, how many? Definitely the only fan. Definitely. How many times have they painted the wall though? Like that hasn't been a thing forever.
No, it's a new tradition post
Yeah.
new stadium.
Pretty crazy to think about it. I was drunk and jazzed and telling, I remember telling Bees, like, I was like, so was this your idea to have like a fan come do this? And he was like, no.
He's like, I don't know where we are right now.
I was like, sorry for inconveniencing you, sir.
But it's pretty cool. I mean, I guess I felt this way a little bit last year too when Benny Feilhaber was inducted. I was like, oh dang, like this is crazy. Like people we watched as like grown ass adults are now being inducted into Sporting Legends, and it's only going to keep getting worse. But
yeah, I hate to tell you, Jim,
deserved.
We are old, bro.
I know.
This year I turned 40. I literally just had double hip replacements. I'm old, bro.
What are you gonna do for your 40th birthday?
Dude, we gotta do something. I gotta meet halfway. Like maybe we should do something with Dave and Buster's or something. I don't know.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Then it's in December, so weather dependent. We'll see what's going on.
Dude, I've had beautiful birthdays. I've had snowy birthdays. Like you just don't even know. And you know, Christmas baby over here.
Yeah, Christmas Eve is my birthday. So we'll figure out something. We'll do something fun.
Do something.
Yeah, that'll be a good time.
I'm getting old now, so maybe pickleball's a thing. I don't know. Maybe we get some pickleball going on.
Pickleball, that'd be great.
Oh, look at this, man. Me and Nick can just have Nick's in December 14th.
We got a whole series of December birthdays on the pod.
Dude, it could be a no other pod, KCSN birthday bash extravaganza.
Bash. Chiefs will be well into their season at some point. They'll probably have the division locked up. So,
Oh, yeah. Chiefs will be resting their players for playoffs coming up.
Yeah, it'll be great. Yeah, we'll do something. That'd be fun. Invite people out there. Let's go ahead and let's take our first break here real quick. Congrats to Bees again, but let's take our first break and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little Sporting KC, Portland Timbers, and we'll be right back.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Are you ready to win some real cash during the basketball playoffs? Well, check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition. And yeah, that includes prize picks. Hit all your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6, plus even more cash if you outscore the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. New players get 50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to play $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Bro, I got your little randomness here for you, but the spouse and I have been watching Seinfeld. Been rewatching Seinfeld on Netflix. I've never seen them all. You just kind of catch bits and pieces growing up.
Yeah, one of those shows that's always on somewhere.
Yeah, and gosh dang it, as much as Kramer makes me laugh so hard, it just sucks that he ended up being a big turd as a human being.
That's one of the things that is well, this is a very privileged problem to have, first world problem to have, but like I think about this with actors that I like or athletes or whatnot. Like I've gotten to the point where like I stopped buying jerseys with any names on them. One, because most of these players are younger than I am now, which feels a little weird. But two, I'm like, oh, I had this Aaron Rodgers jersey that I wore for so many years, and now I'm like, well, that's in my closet and it's never coming out again. So,
that's now a kitchen towel,
right? So I'm like, in football, it sucks. It's harder because you can't exactly buy just like a plain football jersey. Soccer, it's real easy. You just buy the shirt with no name on it. You don't have to worry about it. But
as a kid, man, I was always into KU basketball jerseys, and getting older, I'm like, I'm not gonna put these children's names on the back of a KU basketball jersey,
right?
At a school I did not attend.
No, and if I ever buy an NFL jersey, well, who knows now with how expensive shit is with all that's going on. But I was like, I just buy a knockoff jersey from China for like $20,
dude. To pivot this conversation to soccer, though, that's why the soccer kits are so cool, because they are so casual. They don't feel like you're wearing a jersey half the time. It feels like you could throw a blazer and jeans on, and have that jersey underneath it.
Well, and Sporting has explicitly said for years, they're like, oh, that's kind of our goal with our shirts, is we want people to be able to throw them on and go out for a night. And some of their shirts have been more successful in that than others, but for the most part, I think they do a pretty decent job.
I remember I wore their white Argyle polo with a black blazer one night with jeans. I was like, dude, I am so fresh right now.
Yeah, that one was nice. I mean, it had the little collared shirt and everything.
It ran a little tight though. I'm not gonna lie to you. I felt a little swole.
Those years from like 2012 to 2014, those shirts ran a little small, and now they've almost gone the opposite way, and they run a little big.
Now they run a little big. Now I'll get like an XL, and I'm like, well, this is too big. I need like a large and a half.
Because I got that State Line jersey from 2013. It's an extra large, and I'm like, oh, I'm a sausage encasing, and now I got an extra large now, and I'm like, this is a little too baggy.
Dude, I have the black Argyle one from 2012, 2013. It cuts off circulation on my biceps, and you lift the elastic, and it's got like marks on my arm. I was like, this is crazy. I got soccer players skip arm day. What is going on here?
Well, I do. It does remind me, like whenever I see, especially the game worn jerseys. I mean, you have the Fonte game worn jersey from Juneteenth a few years ago, but I mean, Fonte looks like a pretty big dude out on the field. And even that jersey, like, we're big guys, but we're not huge, and I wouldn't fit into it. I mean, you fit into it, but it's probably not your typical go-to size because it's that game worn sleek style.
But it is a large, and so like they are better now. Like they're not totally spandex like they were. So it's different. I have that retro jersey too that they played in last year. And I got that XL, man. It's like I'm swimming in that thing.
That's what I have too. And yeah, it certainly fits a lot better. It's just, it's funny because soccer and NBA players, you kind of have the same issue, just opposite, where you're watching on the field and you're like, some of these soccer players, you don't realize how small they are because they're all like relatively small. The occasional center back's bigger. And basketball players, you're like, oh, Steph Curry looks like a tiny human. And he's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yes.
He's a large human by any other measure.
You need to get like a small or a medium basketball jersey. Otherwise, those puppies are just insane. Yeah. I have like an XL Bulls jersey, Kirk Heinrich, and ring is just massively huge.
What a throwback! So
I know. Hey, playoffs start this week, man.
Yeah. It's fun. Let's jump into this game for a little bit. Portland coming to town. A lot of goals. Portland coming to town. Sporting coming off their best performance of the year, getting the win against St. Louis. Thinking, okay, this is a chance to maybe do something against a Portland team that isn't the Portland team of old. Like, when you think of Fernando Adi and Diego Valeri and all that stuff, like, they had a run there with some iconic players for a long time. Still got Diego Chara. He's still in there, damn near 40 years old, being a little pest and getting yellow cards in the midfield. But, they come into town and they're okay. They're not great. And then you look at the Sporting lineup and no changes from last week at St. Louis, and I was like, okay, let's see what we can do. We got that Jansen and Joaquin center back pairing again, see if that can catch lightning in a bottle twice there. And there was a moment real early in the game where Daniel had a chance. It was like 2.5 minutes into the game, and he almost put one away right there in front of the Stout stand. Couldn't quite do it. But it looked early like Sporting might have something. And then set piece, 9th minute, 10th minute, Portland sort of puts Dejan Jovic in the spin cycle, and then Ayala just redirects it on frame, bottom corner, set piece again. Sporting can't defend it. Now they're down 1-0 inside the first 10 minutes, and whatever good feeling I had from St. Louis kind of all just went away.
Yeah, man, it's never good to go down early. I mean, it's I just find when we give up this first goal, as it tends to happen, I just start laughing. I'm just like, damn, and I did hear some cheers. I was like, who the hell is cheering? I'm like, oh, Portland's got some fans over there. It kind of threw me off.
Yeah, and you're sort of near that away section area, so you probably heard it better than a lot of other people. But yeah, Portland they travel. It's not St. Louis crowd, but they travel.
Yeah, I'm still over in that. I think this was actually my last game that I'll be over there in that handicap section, and I'll be back to my old seats.
Your regular seats. Yeah, it was. There were a lot of youth soccer teams in the South Stand because it was Kids Day, which I do have to say they did a pretty cool job with the theming.
Listen, we need to talk about these children's drawings. It's a cute idea, and it's just like, okay, someone's gonna get offended here. So,
are you coming out as anti-children's drawings right now?
Hold on, I'm not. No, yes, I'm anti-children. No, these drawings though, I'm like, there's no way for them to do this without one of the players being like, "What the hell happened to my face?" And I just got to throw out, like, first of all, John Polskamp does not have humongous ears like that. Freaking Logan and Denbay's got a freaking droopy eye. Jovic has like the most handsome photo. I'm like, dude, that kid crushed it.
The kid's nuts.
Daniel Shallowy looks like potentially a different ethnicity.
And
artistic
liberties.
Joaquin has like no neck and like no ears.
Yeah.
And they were showing these, and I loved it though, because this kid was like, John Postcamp, as they introduced him, and I was like, this is adorable. But
it was fun.
Maybe get some kids who are artists. I don't know.
Maybe get some kids who know what the fuck they're doing.
I'm just kidding. It was just hilarious. It started the game in a great way. I thought it was awesome.
Well, and the Cauldron had some cool like Sesame Street 2 poles that they were holding up and for Kids Day, and there was a badass Sesame Street Sporting Kansas City crew neck sweatshirt they were selling.
They had a little collaboration, a couple different merch items. You like this?
Look, call me a millennial. I don't care. I'm kind of on sort of the like retro, throwback 90s vibes that's happening right now. And I was a Sesame Street kid growing up. I grew up on Sesame Street. It was Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers. Those were my shows. So you throw a Sesame Street collab at me, and I'm probably digging it. So.
Okay. Hey, you don't got to tell me nothing, man. I literally got shoes delivered today that they re-released, and I had them in high school 25 years ago.
Yeah, I get it. I'm wearing my my Jordan 4s right now, so you throw back something to me, and I'll probably like it. Yep. I got a Powerline Goofy Movie sweatshirt that I bought recently for the 30th anniversary of the movie. So
I dude.
Yeah, that's right. Sporting goes down 1-0, 10th minute. It kind of sucks, but the Russian machine, I don't know what nickname he has yet, but Shapi Slimanov, he's out there. He's making things happen, and he gets a free kick in the 16th minute. And, the thing that I think I've been missing from this team is like, okay, who is the set piece guy? Because when Memo's out there, Memo's freaking phenomenal at set pieces, but he's not a starter. And so, Johnny was it for a while, but Johnny's not here anymore. So is it Shapi? Is it Manu? Like, I don't know. I've been kind of looking for somebody, and Shapi steps up, and I'm not going to say he intended to make this a shot per se, but I'm not going to say he didn't, because he drives this thing hard and low into the box off his left foot on frame. And this is why you just put the ball on frame. It slips through everybody and it goes right into that, far corner of the net. And suddenly it's 1-1.
How did no one touch this ball? How did no one? I thought it was a deflection at first. I watched the replay so many times. I was like, oh, an own goal, huh? And it's like, no one touched this damn thing.
Slips on through like 4 different Portland defenders.
Portland should feel pretty dumb here. That should have never happened. But I think that, dude, Shapi, I mean, when did he get subbed off in the second half? Like the 50-something minute, right?
We're here right now. Yeah, Shoppy came off in the 55th minute for Eric Thomas.
Why Shoppy? Why did he come off the field when the majority of our offense was coming on his side? He was the one doing shit.
Yeah.
And that's what the announcers were saying too, man. They were like, not sure why you would take off your highest offensive production over there, but whatever. Maybe there's an injury, but it hasn't been told to us. Was there an injury? Do you know something?
I mean, he had his ankle stepped on where he earns the penalty that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But I asked him after the game, like, how's the ankle? He's like, that's fine. Like, I'm good.
So then this was a choice from Kerry Zavagnin, which I'm like, why, bro? Like, we're all seeing that he's crushing it. He's doing things over there, really having pace on the ball, making great passes, getting in dangerous positions, and you take him off with 40 minutes left in the game?
Yeah. Well, and neither goal came through the run of play for Sporting Kansas City. But what I will say, and Shoppy was certainly a part of this, like you're saying, this attack looked more direct, more free-flowing, more fluid, and more creative than I've seen it in quite a while. Obviously, the goals came from a set piece and a penalty kick, but you see some of what Manu Garcia is able to do out there, some of these instinctual passes, even, and like how many times have we talked about on this podcast, look at what the Current do and how they just make passes and they know that somebody's going to be there and they know each other. It feels like whether it's because the chemistry is finally coming together or maybe Kerry let some slack on the leash a little bit and was like, okay, I'm not going to have the offensive system be as rigid. Go just ball out and do what you do. We're starting to see Manu and Shoppy and Daniel and even Jovic be a little bit more dynamic with some of these quick passing sequences that are going up through the middle. And it got me a little excited that I was like, okay, this attack might actually be something.
Look, I've seen some LA Galaxy fans online being a little sad when they see Jovic doing things here, man.
The dude's got talent.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the thing that I like about him, you know, I saw some people early on there, like Peters managed to take Dejan Jovic and turn him into Alan Pulido, like through the first however many games, which wasn't said as a positive. It was more like, oh, yeah, you've got him dropping deep and he's not, you know, being a part of the game and he's not getting the ball at his feet or whatnot. But the last couple games, you're starting to see Jovic come alive a little bit.
Why the last couple games? Because there is no Peter Vermees.
I leaned to our buddy Chad Smith. I was sitting next to him partway through this game. I was getting close to halftime, and I was like, okay, this is an unanswerable question because too many things changed all at the same time. Like in science, if you're going to do a test, you got to change one variable so you can know is that it. But the variables that we're talking about are, okay, Peter gets fired. Jake goes back to the midfield suddenly, so you have him more in a place where he needs to be. They're finally getting more practices together. They're getting more time together. So I'm like, which of these things, or is it a combination of all of them working together that makes this attack suddenly start to look like there might be some teeth to it? We're never going to know. I do think, you know, Kerry said after the game, you know, because he mentioned, oh, yeah, it's our highest XG of the season so far, which it also helps he had 2 penalty kicks. But I asked him, what changed? Did you change anything? He said, and I think this is telling, quote, I think we've taken a little bit of the apprehensiveness away. Instead of just circulating the ball side to side and being happy with possession, we've taken our opportunities. It's not about being a direct team. It's about taking advantage of the space available. Those are good signs. You know, and then he talked about giving 4 goals away at home and such. But I just think that he even kind of said there, like, he's not throwing Peter under the bus by any means, but he's like, we just kind of took off some of the rigid structure, I'm paraphrasing, and just let them go.
I liked in one of his opening pressers, like, I think he was asked, like, well, what can fans expect? Like, aren't you essentially the same person? Like, you've worked closely with him for so long. And I think he straight up said, like, you know, you will see some similarities, but I'm also excited to try some things that I've been, you know, keeping inside and stuff, like some things of my own. Yeah. And it's like, well, that's kind of cool. Like, obviously you're not going to see a total rework of the system, you know, because it's still arguably the same freaking people, man.
Right. But you do see, I mean, we talked about this on this podcast too, and I've been talking Chad's ear off in the press box. He's probably tired of me hearing about it, but I was like, stop passing horizontal and going up the side. Like, we've talked about it on the podcast. Radia, like, look up the field. Center backs, look up the field. We've seen Joaquin Fernandez now look up and do it. We've seen Jansen Miller do it. Even Radia last week looking up and doing it. So maybe I'm putting too much the blame on individual players, and there wasn't enough on the system that was being implemented. But I don't know. It's just nice to see, even if the results aren't coming yet. This is the first time out of all the press conferences where Peter's been like, we're seeing improvement. And we were like, are we? Like, I actually think there are some things in the attack where I'm like, I can tangibly see a difference here, and there is improvement.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Let's take our second break here real quick, and then we'll come back, finish out this game, and keep talking. But we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Dude, do you watch Black Mirror on Netflix?
You know, I think I would really like it, but I've never watched it.
It's kind of like a horror anthology. Like, it's technological horror. I mean, it's creepy, dude. There's some episodes at the end where you're just like, what?
Yeah. Are you a fan of The Last of Us?
Yeah, I've been watching. That just premiered Sunday night. So.
Yeah, not gonna spoil anything for anybody, but I mean, that's one where there were some moments in that premiere episode where I was like, I'm watching it at night. I'm in the house by myself. I got my dog.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a little. There were some moments in that premiere episode where I was like, this is a little creepy. So,
I mean, it's dude. Did you play the video game at all?
I haven't.
Okay.
So
I have.
I don't know the story and I've intentionally avoided. I know there's a lot of people that are like, I know what happens because of the video game, and I've intentionally avoided that. But
yeah.
It's
a great game. Like, when I was playing it, I was like, I'm just playing someone's life. When do I actually like do missions and stuff? This is just like narrative.
I've heard I that's the type of game where, like, I don't know if I'd enjoy playing it because I get so stressed out about, like, am I going to be able to accomplish it? But I feel like that's the type of game that I'd enjoy watching someone play for the story of it, which is why I like the show. But
listen, Marissa and I are playing a co-op game called Split Fiction. You should look it up. Split Fiction, probably going to win Game of the Year. And dude, there's some moments like, of course, when there's puzzles and shit, you die and you try again. You die, you try again. It's just how it goes. Well, when she dies so many times, she's done. She's over it. She's sick of it. She's getting frustrated. While I'm over here going, do what?
You're riding on dragons in this game?
Well, not yet. We haven't, but no. we're getting there. And she's like, I got to be done soon. And I'm just over here going, I'm just having a great time. And so she had to quit on this final boss of this level. So what did I do? I grabbed her controller and I went back and forth with two controllers, throwing a bomb, catching it with the other controller. I was a wizard. I can't believe it even happened. She came back to see me doing this. I was like sweating.
And she's got like water she's giving you.
Yes, but I did it and I completed it with two controllers. And she goes, okay, that was pretty fucking impressive. And I was like, I don't know how I did it. I just knew we could not stop on the big bad. Yeah. We can't stop here. You'll never remember how to do it.
Did you think as a kid you'd grow up to be a grown adult man impressing women with your video game playing abilities?
No, nor did I think I would play a co-op game with two controllers. I mean, It's insane, but you literally can't play the game alone.
Yeah,
you need someone else.
Yeah,
and you, Jimmy, could play with me. Since I own the game, you could download the free friend pass and play with me.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Is it on Xbox?
Yeah, that is.
Okay. We'll see.
So it's in our future.
Let's get back to the game here a little bit. 1-1 Sporting. Unfortunately, Sporting, this is off of a throw-in, just some poor defending from Sporting Kansas City here. Now, I have a beef because Portland threw the ball in, and then suddenly there's another ball on the field on the same side of the field in the attacking third while all of this is happening. And I'm not going to sit here and say Sporting didn't defend because there was a second ball on the field, but I am going to say the referee would have been well within his rights to stop play and clear the second ball off the field. He didn't do it. Kelsey for Portland fires a shot. Well, actually, it was Ayala who fired a shot and it bounced off of Kelsey's inner thigh. At first, I thought it was deflected off a Sporting player. nothing Pulskamp can do. Just kind of sucks. But, our guy, Barty Party, he gets turned around by Ayala here, and this is a rookie mistake and just sort of gives too much space in the box.
Yeah, dude. There were some mistakes. There were definitely some mistakes that led to some goals. Very frustrating stuff. I don't know. It's so easy to see results of games and be like, wow, we freaking suck. But when you really break it down, it's like, man, there really were some good moments here in that first half.
There were. And honestly, Carey said it in the post game. He was like, technically, it's 2 set pieces. I kind of consider it 4 set pieces where we gave up the goal because 2 of them were throw-ins where they were basically set plays. So he's like, to me, they're kind of, and he wasn't saying that as an excuse. He's saying that more of like, we need to be better in defending. And clearly, like, I asked him, I was like, this has been a problem for a while. And he was like, you're right, it has. And it comes down to, favorite word, mentality and doing the dirty work. And people just aren't doing the dirty work right now. So but giving up 4 goals while only allowing 1.0 expected goals per FOTMOB, that kind of tells you that there's mistakes that are happening and goals are being let in that shouldn't.
So expected goals, we would have won this game, expected goals wise.
Oh yeah, it was about, according to FOTMOB, 2.17 for Sporting and 1.0 for Portland.
That's insane. And didn't Miller have the ball and he lackadaisically friggin' just they just took it from him. The guy was behind him and he just took it.
Yeah, that did happen. I mean, so Sporting tied it up before the half with the penalty kick. Jovic, obviously a great penalty. Shoppy.
What's with that penalty? What the hell kind of stones does this man have?
Disrespectful as hell.
That's where Galaxy fans have been like, I miss this man. They do.
The balls to walk up and just gently.
Oh, he didn't walk. He sprinted to the ball and bloop.
Well,
sprint, bloop.
And I didn't notice this, obviously live. Have you watched the replay on MLSsoccer.com? What he does immediately after?
No. What does he do?
He grabs his crotch and kind of does a little gesture, yeah, I got the balls for that. And they catch it wide open. If you go to MLSsoccer.com right now and you click on the highlight, that's the penalty kick goal, Portland 33rd minute. It's 12 seconds into this highlight. It cuts and it's just him grabbing his crotch and kind of pulling up on it like I'm lifting up my huge balls.
Okay, where someone's got to gif this. Where's it at?
I don't know, and maybe that's not what he means to do, but I don't know how else to interpret it because I mean this dude walked up and that was one of the more disrespectful penalty kicks I've seen in a long time. And it worked so well. The dude, the keeper he dives and you see him just fall on his ass backward and roll backwards because he knows he just got taken for a ride.
A little foreshadowing though. Keeper got his revenge later in the game.
He did.
With a hell of a save on another penalty. What a time.
Good save. Halftime 2-2. You think there's opportunities. You're like, okay, offense is looking good. If they can keep this up, then they have a chance. And then, yeah, it's
they can keep it up.
That was the thing. And they had opportunities in the second half, even offensively. But you're right. It's 3 minutes in. Jansen Miller gets caught a little bit lazy. He doesn't clear the ball well. Portland's there. And then it's Kelsey again taps it in after, basically a wide open shot in the box. That makes it 3-2 Portland early in the second half. It's not great. And then, not 5 minutes later off of a corner kick. It's listed currently as an own goal. I actually think this is probably going to be changed because I don't think that it ended up coming off of Jansen Miller. I think a Portland player touched it, but it's currently listed as an own goal. But 4-2 in the 54th minute. At that point, it kind of felt like this game's probably we're not going to come back from down 2, even though there's still 50 or 40 minutes to play. So it was just pretty frustrating. There were chances. Jovic had a gorgeous in the 79th minute. This is kind of what you're talking about. He taps the ball around the Portland defender, makes some space for him. It's a tight angle. He can't quite get it past the Portland keeper, but if he could have, would have been up for goal of the week potentially. And then Steven Afrifa earns the penalty and stoppage that could have at least made it mildly interesting. And like you said, Jovic takes it and just gets stonewalled. And you could tell he immediately fell to his knees and just grabbed his head. And and was distraught that he missed it. But
Yeah.
ultimately 4-2, Portland takes it. I think there's a little improvement in the attack, but how many times can we say individual mistakes on the defensive end cost Sporting points?
Dude, it's unfortunate, man. And it's you don't see any signs of like, I mean, you see some signs of getting better, but it's like, when's it going to pay off? You know what I mean? Like it's April. We're not winning many games. But yet we scored 2 goals. It's just not enough. You can't let in 4. You can't do that.
I mean, Joaquin, he some people were saying that he was lucky to still be on the field because there was a moment where VAR in was it the second half, first half? I think it might have been the first half. I don't remember where exactly it was, but he was trying to pass the ball up the field, and a Portland player, Anthony, was late getting there. So Joaquin's studs went into Anthony's leg, and it looked bad. I'm not saying it looked great, but I don't know. Anthony, he gets there late. Joaquin had the ball. He passes the ball. It's normal soccer play, so I thought it would have been harsh for Joaquin to get sent off on a red card, especially when it was Anthony himself who stomped on Shoppy's leg earlier in the game or in the penalty. He was already on a yellow. Probably should have been a second yellow. He should have been off. Wasn't shown one.
No.
So I don't know. I did think this quote's funny from Phil Neville, the Timbers coach. He goes, quote, "I love the result. I'm angry with the refereeing performance. It wasn't good enough." I'm like,
well, that'll get you fined.
Yeah, shut up. Like, you won the game.
Dumbass.
Like, you're lucky that your guy didn't get sent off for a red card in the first half. Like, just chill out. But
Wow, it's pretty unheard of to win a game and criticize the refereeing. That's pretty new.
Yeah, I thought it was stupid.
Wow.
We already talked about what Carey sort of said in the post game some. This was interesting, and you and I had a little back and forth about this over text message because I've not experienced this in my time here. But, after the post game, the way it works is you go to the press conference, you hear the coach, you go to the locker room, and then press officers ask who you guys want to talk to. We tell them who they want to talk to. Then they make sure they shower or get situated. We go over, ask the questions, usually 2 or 3 people in the post game. So we're going there, and the press officer goes, Jansen says he wants to talk to the media. Who else do y'all want to talk to? And we're like, that's interesting. Like, it's not usually, like, people don't often, this might be the first time, honestly, I've had somebody ask proactively to talk to the media. Normally they're trying to get away from it. But it's certainly not a rookie. And so he answered some questions and such. And at the end, they're like, well, you asked to speak with us. Like, is there anything in particular you wanted to say? And he goes, quote, "I just wanted to make sure people knew that this wasn't indicative of how we play and how we've prepared and the difference since Carey's come in. I think the way Carey's been, I think you can see a difference on the field. Obviously, there's little moments, but as a whole, we're moving in the right direction. I just wanted people to know that and see it," which I think is interesting, especially after he made a pretty big individual error that directly led to a goal. To one, ask to talk to the media, but then 2, as a rookie, he's coming out pretty bluntly swinging big in defense of his new interim coach. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that situation?
No, it sounds like, this coach believes in him and he's putting him in a starting spot and he's like, hey, we need to stand up for Carey, I guess. I find it interesting that no one ever did that for Peter. No one ever came up and said, hey, I just want to tell you this isn't Peter,
I mean, they would say stuff somewhat when asked about it. Like, we'd be like, what do you need to do?
Sure.
Or what needs to change? And Johnny would be like, we as players, got to do better or whatnot. But you are, and I don't want to read too much into this, but it was interesting that, when asked, like, what is it specifically you want to say, that he was like, I need to come, like, almost proactively, preemptively to the defense of Carey. I don't know if his only experience as a professional really is this year. So maybe he saw how upset fans were getting with Peter. And maybe he's like, I need to be that first line of defense, no pun intended, as a defender, or my coach, because maybe he thinks they were going to start turning on Carey. But I don't know. The phrase that I keep looking at is the difference since Carey's come in. And that's interesting to me, even as a rookie, where he's like, we have a noticeable difference in preparation and how we're playing since Carey's come in. That's the part that just is like, I'm not trying to read too much into it, but that is interesting that he's already got distinction between Peter and Carey, just 10, 15 days into Carey's tenure. So
exactly.
I don't know. Just thought it was interesting. Sporting will move on to face the San Jose Earthquakes now. I do want to point out, I think this is a really hilarious description of the state of Sporting Kansas City currently. Matt Doyle from MLSsoccer.com, he has a newsletter he sends out every couple of weeks called the Armchair Analyst Tactics Free Zone, and he does power rankings every couple of weeks there. Last time he did power rankings, Sporting were like 30th. It was unsurprising. They'd lost a bunch. Then they beat St. Louis, and this is the first power rankings since then. They're up to 26th. We're not dead last anymore.
Hey-o.
But the quote here, he goes, quote, "They played some fun, if disastrous soccer. Need to tighten it up and obviously cut out the individual errors, but it's starting to look like something's here." So that I thought was an interesting analysis from a guy who picked Sporting to finish second to last in the West preseason. He's like, oh, well, yeah, there's maybe something.
There's something.
But yeah,
I agree with that. We got to see more of it.
I just think like if you could encapsulate like Sporting from the last couple of years and sort of what it means to be this team, fun if disastrous soccer, I think is a pretty good like phrase that just sort of captures like what it means to be a fan of Sporting Kansas City.
Kinda, yeah.
So, but now they go face the San Jose Earthquakes. San Jose, they're an interesting team because, as we know, they've been rebuilt in the image of Bruce Arena, who's probably the only team or only coach that really rivals Peter Vermees or even surpasses Peter Vermees in sort of his ability to run everything in his likeness. And Sporting have already faced San Jose once this year, and they couldn't get the win, even though San Jose had a red card. So how they go on the road and they have to face, a not great, but a feisty San Jose team. And San Jose just lost to LAFC. But if Sporting couldn't do it at home, up a man for as long as they were, I don't know how much hope it gives you on the road. Again, albeit attack looks like it's maybe getting better, and it's under Carey instead of Peter now.
Yeah, it's worrisome, but we're a different team now, right? In so many ways.
It'll be interesting. I mean, San Jose, they're sort of an enigma of a club in some ways because they have so many new players and they have Joseph Martinez, and at times they look like, they're scoring 6 goals against DC United, and they're drawing the Seattle Sounders, who are a good team, and then they're dropping 4 against Real Salt Lake, and then other times you're like, well, then they get blanked by Minnesota, they lose to Colorado, they lose to LAFC. So it's kind of like one extreme or the other with San Jose. They lost 4-1 to Charlotte. Again, Charlotte had a red card. I don't think San Jose has drawn a game this year. Oh no, they drew once with Seattle. Otherwise, it's all been wins or losses. So it's not going to be an easy game. But we're unfortunately, I think, already at the point of the season where it's like road draws don't also do all that much for us anymore. You got to start getting some road wins.
Yeah, man.
It sucks to be saying it that early, but
I mean, you got 4 points through 8 games. I mean, we gotta pick it up.
That's not good enough. And we're right back in that situation where the hole's been dug, and now you got to dig yourself out of it, and it's only going to get harder if you don't start getting out of it now. But
exactly,
it is what it is. So, in terms of other games that happen around the league, is there anything interesting that caught your mind? I mean, Miami went to Chicago. They basically damn near sold out Soldier Field, which the Chicago Fire were trying to take credit for. It was a 0-0 draw. So it wasn't all that exciting. Messi didn't score.
Well, that's unfortunate. He had one hell of a blast from outside the box, hell of a stay from the goalkeeper. Also, something to note about that whole Messi situation. Did you hear that his bodyguard is not allowed to be on the field anymore?
I did hear that.
His personal bodyguard, they're like, MLS will be handling security from here on out. And it's like, then some fan ran up to him to take a selfie on the field, and it's like no one stopped him.
Well, I think I heard something. I don't know if this was a direct quote from Messi or someone in quote unquote Messi's camp or whatnot, but they were like, he's had more people get on the field and get near him in his MLS games than like all the games he was at Barcelona or something. I haven't fact checked that myself. I know sometimes on the international games it's a little easier, but I was like, yeah, I don't know. If I'm the league, like unless the security guard did something nefarious, I'm not sure why this is the hill they're dying on.
I know. Well, they're not stopping fans at all. It's like anyone can just run out there and take a selfie real fast. Like that's crazy.
Well, didn't it happen on that game at Children's Mercy Park when it was like -5 degrees? Didn't someone get out there and try to take a picture with him? I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember.
I remember.
It's like ages ago.
I know. It doesn't even think it's the same year. But which, by the way, speaking of CONCACAF Champions Cup, Miami came back from being down, and they gave up an away goal. They had to outscore LAFC by 2 goals, and they scored 3 unanswered, come back and they win, and they move on in pretty spectacular fashion.
It's insane. Absolutely insane.
It's pretty wild.
You also got what?
And now they're rumored to add Kevin De Bruyne, because why not?
Because why not? Because why shouldn't they?
And he'll probably be a TAM player.
Unfreaking believable. You got U.S. Open Cup starting up again. If anyone cares about that, I don't really care about it. I guess. I mean, I'm kind of paying attention, but like, no one really matters to me.
You don't want to watch the Charleston Battery versus the South Georgia Tormenta?
Yeah, not really. I mean, this is the 3rd round here, right? You still got Columbus Crew 2 in there.
Yeah.
But who else is really around, right? That would matter.
Yeah, I mean, there are some teams that you'll see from USL that you may recognize. The Sacramento Republic, who, as we know, we've faced off in U.S. Open Cup against before. FC Tulsa and Phoenix Rising. Indy 11 take on Miami FC. So there are some names that you probably recognize, and then there's like, oh yeah, there's Hearts versus Rhode Island. Like, that sounds made up.
Well, back to Champions Cup though, man. You got semifinal matchup of Vancouver versus Miami. Mm-hmm. Vancouver, Supporters Shield leaders much? Pretty wild.
Vancouver, there's something there.
That MLS is guaranteed to have a team in the final. Like that's what this means here. One of them will win, and MLS will be represented in the Champions Cup final, which is pretty cool. It's all we can ask for as MLS fans.
Yeah, and MLS, CONCACAF, everybody's rooting for Miami over Vancouver, but whichever team they face off in the final against, it's either Tigres or Cruz Azul. Those are 2 storied Mexican teams. The marquee matchup from a brand standpoint, if you're looking at it, it's Miami and Tigres. Like if you get Miami and Tigres to play in that game, that's going to do numbers. So yeah,
Cruz
Azul is nothing to scoff at either.
No, definitely not. That'll be shit, man. That'll be next week, won't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it should be interesting. But I don't know, man. I think that's most of what we got this week. Unfortunately, Sporting couldn't. They had some things to build on, couldn't get the points. So we'll see what happens on the road in San Jose. But you got anything else for our good listeners this week?
Man, it's WrestleMania time. Like that's you got me excited.
El Grande Americano.
Jeez, you cannot.
Gracias instead of the thank you. Not Chad Gable. He had the dog.
Silencio.
It's so stupid, but sometimes
it's actually pretty insensitive.
It's not great.
No, it's not great at all. It's really, and especially when JBL is like these luchadors taking our jobs. Oh boy,
it's real bad, especially given the context of what's happening. It's not great.
Yeah,
I assume that the way this is going to end is at one point El Grande Americano is going to try to take off Rey Mysterio's mask, and he's going to win by unmasking El Grande Americano, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh my God, it's Chad Gable."
Yeah.
And then, of course, Michael Cole will be like, "Of course it's Chad Gable, you fucking idiots. I've been saying it for weeks."
It's going to be something good.
Should be fun. But anyway, thank y'all so much for sticking with us and listening. Let us know what you think about what's going on with Sporting and the direction they're headed. You can leave us a 5-star rating and review and tell us there. You can follow us on social at NoOtherPod, at Dan Kooser, at JCMac03. You can shoot us an email, nootherpod@gmail.com, or you can check us out on YouTube, KCSN Soccer. Leave a comment there, or watch via the KC Sports Network app. But until next time, he's Dan, I'm Jimmy. We'll catch y'all later. See ya.
Thank you, my tribal chief.